Assalamu alaikum students. I am Aisha Anwar. I hope all of you are fine and following all the lectures that are being shared with you. Currently, we are studying chapter number 2, System Development Life Cycle or Software Development Life Cycle. In previous lectures, we have studied about its objectives, its importance and its phases. Today we are going to start the next portion of a chapter which is about the persons involved in SDLC. The topic is personals involved, which means any person who is directly or indirectly involved with the project or the system or with the solution is known as the personnel. So there are usually 6 type of personnels who are involved in SDLC. They are management personnels, project manager, system analyst, programmer, software tester and customer. Each personnel have its own role and his own tasks. We will discuss them one by one. First of all, management personnel or management team. As its name shows that all the persons that are related to the management of the solution or to the project is known as the management person or a management team. They have to provide the consistency of success of the software with regard to time, cost and quality objectives. They have to ensure that the project is completed within time, within cost, and all its objectives have been met. They have to ensure that customer expectations or requirements are met. They have to collect historical information and data for future use. They provide a method of thought for ensuring all the requirements are addressed through a comprehensive work definition process, which means that all the requirements that have been gathered by the techniques of requirement engineering, those requirements are being showed by the management personnel or management team, and it's their duty to reduce the risks associated with the projects. They have to reduce the risk factors, that how what are the chances of the failure of the project, what are the features that are going to be lead to the failure of a project. So they have to identify all the risk and they have to address them. It means they are overall managing the system or the project. It's their responsibility to manage it. The next one is project management. The project manager is the person who is directly involved with each and every factor of the project. He has to develop the project plan. He has to manage the project budget so that project should be completed within the cost. He has to manage all the stakeholders. Stakeholders may include the sponsors, the customers, the users, each and everyone. He has to manage the team. He has its own team and that team is basically working on the project, so manager has to look after or manage the team. Manager has to manage the project risks, schedule and the conflicts that are related, so that all the factors are addressed at this time and may not lead towards any failure or any challenge at the later stages. The third one is the system analyst. System analyst is a person who performs the analysis phase of SDLC. He has to plan the system flow. He interacts with the customer to learn and document the requirements that are used to be produced in the requirement documents. It is very much necessary to document a complete project from defining phase till the maintaining phase, because whenever a maintenance or a support is required, then that document is used as the supportive document, which has each and every detail of the project. Using that detail, we can incorporate the further changes, or we can address the any problem that are being reported by the users. System analysts also define the technical requirements of a system. There are basically two type of requirements. One is technical, and the other one is non-technical. The customer usually tell their requirements in non-technical way, but system analyst understands those non-technical details of the requirements and translate them into the technical terms, like what technology is to be required, what are the expertise level that is to be required to develop the project, such like that. Then system analysts interact with the designers to understand the software limitations. He helped programmers during system development phase. Why does he help the programmers? Because the system analyst is the one who has the complete understanding of the system from the requirement to the design, so he has to help the programmers during the development phase. He manages the system testing, that the developed system is error free, because he has the complete understanding of the system, so he is the only person who is capable to manage the detailed testing of the system. And in the end, he has to document the requirements and contribute to the user manuals. Basically, there are two type of documentations that are prepared during SDLC. One is for the end users, and one is for the programmers or the developers or the software development team. He has to contribute towards the documents that are to be delivered to the end users, to guide them how to use and how to run or install the software. So these are the responsibilities of the system analyst. The next one is a programmer. Programmer is a person who involves in the coding phase of SDLC. Programmer is a person who is directly involved in writing, testing, and maintaining the instructions of the computer programs. He writes the complete software. After development, he has to update, modify, and expand the existing programs. Programmer is also involved in testing to check the correctness of the software, and in the end, he may be preparing the graphs, tables, and analytical data displays which shows the progress of a computer program. It means that the programmer starts from writing the code, then testing the code, and maintaining the code. So programmer has three tasks: to write the code, to test the code, and to maintain the code for the future purposes, to provide maintenance and support. The programmer knows a different type of high level languages, and usually a person may have expertise on one or two or three languages, like maybe one person who is a programmer is capable to program using C language, C++, and C sharp. So by studying software engineering, or by selecting computer as a career, one of the key profession is the programmer, who have highly paid jobs. The next one is software tester. A programmer is also involved in testing, but usually software houses recruit the testers to test their softwares completely. So, software tester is a person who is involved in the testing phase of SDLC, and he has to test the computer program which is being written for the solution, and he uses different testing techniques. Software tester is responsible for understanding requirements, creating test scenarios. He writes test scripts, he prepares test data, he executes those test scripts and reports defects and reporting the results. So it means that testing is a complete procedure which has different modules which has to be performed. The last person who is involved in SDLC is the customer, and we all know the role of the customer. A customer is basically an individual or an organization that is a current or potential buyer or user of the software product that is under a creation. Customer usually purchase software from software manufacturer companies, normally known as software houses, user groups, and individuals. Customers are also referred as client, but only difference between two is that customer purchase the software products and client purchase the services. So here we need to understand the concept of product versus services. So product is the complete module that may require software and hardware both, but services are in terms of we purchase some memory space from the users, or we may use the cloud computing. Cloud computing is a service. We just use the storage space of some companies that is provided to us, and when we are, so it means that we have purchased the services, not the product. And in the end, customers are the real evaluators of a software product by using it and identifying its merits and demerits. And they also identify the errors and the bugs, and they can also suggest the modifications that are required. So these are the 6 personals that are usually involved during the SDLC phases. That's all for today. If you are having any question or any confusion, please discuss. Thank you.